Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
As the great one would say, away we go. Hi, everybody. You can see behind me, I am in what we're going to call a voice studio. Why am I in a voice studio? Well, I'll tell you. Because tonight's guest is a highly trained actor, a voice actor, and I'm really excited to have this guy on. But before we go to that, I got a couple of things. One of them is to introduce the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, Jack Ledoux. There she is.
Hello.
Every time I see that award-winning actress thing, I just crack up. I want
Me
you to know.
too. Me
But
too.
it's true. Jack is an award-winning one. But she did win an award for a marvelous performance. Before we jump in here, folks, I want to show you. I'm going to have to show you this from my phone because, like an idiot, I did not download it onto the computer that I'm on. But I want to show you this, and if any of you don't want to do this, well, this is nonpartisan, but I'm suggesting that you all do this. Here we go. See if we can get the sound to work. Yeah, we can. Hang on.
I am very afraid now.
Well, you'll know what it is in a second. Here we go. This is political as I get. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe. And we're doing this.
You're doing it.
This is the first shot. This is my first shot of the Moderna vaccine. And in a month, we're going to do. Oh, look, they're passing off. They're passing off the baton, so to speak. This was at Axel Research in DeLand, Florida, where I am part of the Moderna study. And they're going to put this right in the muscle, and it really sucks. I want you to know. There it goes. I'm a big ass baby.
Best stick in the world.
You bet your bottom dollar it is.
You did great.
Thank
All
you.
good? Needles.
Beautiful. And I have to tell you, that was the first bout of the Moderna vaccine for me. I am in the study. That is why I got it earlier than others my age. But far be it from me to pass up an opportunity like that. So if you have that opportunity, folks, go out there and get it, because you know what? I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Honestly, I wanted to say, because I work for Advent, so we were in the second batch, and I ended up getting both of mine, and I'm super happy that I did.
It's pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully this will help us come around and we can do theater again, and we can see actors and go and see them and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to still do the show because you know what? We're having fun. We got a lot of good stuff, and I'll tell you about that later on. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, I promised him I would give him a little heads up. It's coming. It's coming.
Oh dear.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is this fellow named Jarman Day. Here he is, right there.
Switches around.
In the middle here, Jarman. There you go. There you go. Hi.
Good to be here.
Jarman is coming from his studio here in Orlando, Florida. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And up until about 5 years ago, apparently Jarman's studio was in his closet.
That's right.
Which I just somehow found amusing. I thought it was still there because Jack told me it was. So, Jarman, how you doing?
I'm doing quite well considering the circumstances. I actually was fortunate enough to have a volunteer friend of mine who was at a COVID site for the vaccine, and they were going to be throwing away a couple of vaccines, and I got there just in time, and my girlfriend and I got one, and so we totally don't deserve it. I feel guilty every day, but at the same time, it's like they were going to throw them away, so it's just get there, grab them, and take advantage of it.
Exactly.
So you did a good thing. Which vaccine was it, buddy?
It was the Moderna, and I just got my second one today, and man, or yesterday, and it knocked me the heck out today.
Yeah.
But I'm better now.
Yeah, that's a question that I'm going to ask you for sure. Did it make you tired, or did it wipe you out?
Super tired. It felt like I had hit by a Mack truck, and my fingers and toes were tingling, a little bit of a fever, but after sleeping a lot today and taking lots of Tylenols and combinations of pain relievers, I feel pretty good by the evening now. So it's gotten better.
Tomorrow morning you'll feel awesome. How's Joel's doing?
Same deal. She's going to have up and down temperatures and really rough. So hopefully tomorrow we'll be back in shape. And it's worth it, people. It's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it is. It is indeed. As a matter of fact, just so you're aware, this is that lovely lady right there.
Picture comes out nice and blurry there.
That's with your little card, isn't it?
There you go. That's the card from the first day I got it.
Yeah.
Awesome. I did not get a card. I am actually in the study.
Oh yeah.
So I did not get that.
Yeah.
And they do practice safe outings. So
absolutely.
Yes, they do.
Pretty much haven't gone anywhere except for I was in a couple plays when this thing first started, kind of. And we try to be real careful, wearing masks on stage, socially distanced audience. But it's rough, it doesn't feel the same. And I was in a play that was very sexual in nature. So it was weird not being able to touch or kiss anyone in a play called Dangerous Liaisons. So that was one
I was
thing.
in the audience and I saw that, by the way. Nice job, by the way.
Thank you.
But it was, I could tell there was slight awkwardness as far as, okay, how do we,
Can I touch you? What should I be doing here?
Yeah, it's very strange. The other day, where the hell was I? I don't remember where I was, but I actually shook someone's hand and I freaked out when I did it. It was like,
What'd I do?
Oh yeah.
I immediately got out some stuff and I said, forgive me, but I don't know.
It's been so long.
Yeah, that happened at a gig I was at, the one up in Harmony, Joe. And the DJ came over and goes, "Hey, it was so nice working with you." And I took his hand before I even thought about it, and then went, "Wait."
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and went,
Takes a lot to get used to.
And even after, and how long has it been? But I still get out of the car every now and again to start going in. So I forgot my mask, So
Exactly. Got to keep one everywhere now.
This happens. So Jarman, now we know you've done a couple of shows live on stage since this began, way back in the beginning of it, I guess. I really wish I had known these. I like Penguin Point, okay, and that's where you were, yes. Yes, I like Penguin Point a lot. I've heard some things about their adherence to certain things lately. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm gonna assume that they're doing just fine. But you did liaisons.
Dangerous.
And you did, which I really wish I would have seen. You did Torch Song.
Oh yeah, that one was very popular too.
Is pretty cool.
Yeah, it hasn't been done in Florida apparently for a long time, or hasn't ever been done in Central Florida.
No, and I'll tell you, I'm very jealous of whoever got to direct that, because I would love to direct that show. I really would.
Matthew McDermott.
A couple of different guys.
Maddie.
God, it's got some powerful themes.
Oh yeah,
got some real powerful themes. So let me go up here and open up the chat room. Okay, it's open up already. Good. But I want to be able to show some photos. There's one right there.
There you go.
Of you and someone. I don't know what you're doing, or what you're planning, or what you might be doing.
Oh, only evil things.
Many evil things. He was evil.
And this, of course, was from Liaisons. Now, obviously, you are used to such costumes and a period piece such as this, especially understanding of this. I understand, because you, my boy, actually worked on stage combat and that sort of thing, and in a rather interesting place. Where was that you did that?
Yes, it was quite a long time ago. So I'd forgotten some of it for this production, but 2006, I believe, I studied abroad in Stratford-Upon-Avon, England. It was through the NYU Tisch School, and they partnered with the Royal Shakespeare Company, and you had to apply and audition to get in, and I got so lucky that I got into it because I wasn't even a theater major. I was a film and television major, so it was kind of unusual for me to be there. And we got to work with the Royal Shakespeare Company's dance professionals, their text and speech experts. We got to see productions with my favorite one was Sir Patrick Stewart, excuse me, in the Swan Theater doing Antony and Cleopatra, and he was right next to me spitting on us in the audience, and this is way before COVID, of course, so I didn't care. I was like, please spit on me, Sir Patrick Stewart. It was amazing. But
I'll never watch this face again.
Exactly.
It's baptism. Oh my gosh.
So it was just a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
So did you do a show there?
We didn't actually do show. We did scenes. We in our own little classroom setting, and we had the experts from the theater coming in, and some of the guest directors and that kind of thing instruct us on how to improve our scenes. And we just read through so many different Shakespeare plays that I'd never read before. Like, I mean, I was like a 22-year-old kid, and I'd never seen Coriolanus or something. The ones that are very infrequently performed. So I just got a big basis in Shakespeare. So it was a lot of fun, and I just got a big appreciation for Shakespeare.
That is really awesome. Now I've got some photos here from Torch Song, and I have to be honest. I looked at them briefly, so we're going to be you will have seen them before, but folks, we're going to kind of see these together for the first time.
Why not?
They're family friendly.
You can tell us what's going, because I have to tell you, this show, this is for a gay person. Okay. This show really touches on just about everything. It touches on every facet, really. And it's one of my favorites. It really is. And then when I bring these up, you can tell us exactly what you played and all that kind of stuff, too. We've got this one here. And I think that's you in the background, yes?
Yes, and that's me with the lead character Arnold, who was portrayed by Harvey Fierstein in the film from the 70s, or early 80s, I guess, 1982 or something like that. Very good movie. I recommend watching it. But yeah, he just did a wonderful job. When I first got casted with this guy, Ryan Ball, I was like, he looks so young. How is he going to play this older part of Harvey Fierstein? But somehow he just got on stage and just transformed into it. And I was like, oh, okay, it doesn't matter how old he is. He's just really taking this role and crushing it. So
it's acting, yeah,
exactly, and he can act, so it was wonderful. So yeah, it was just, and I play Ed, the kind of bisexual guy who's coming to terms with whether he's gay or straight, and it's late 70s, early 80s, so it's still, a lot of pressure on him to be performing a certain way and having a family and a wife and kids, but he still loves Arnold, and so there's a complication between that, and it was just a really, really good play.
That's it's a great play. It's a great movie. On Broadway, Harvey wrote the damn thing.
Yeah.
But Harvey played the same character on Broadway. Interestingly enough, with Matthew Broderick playing the kid on Broadway. And then when the movie came out, Broderick was playing his boyfriend.
The model, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then we go over here, and we've got.
There's the model.
Here. Would be the Matthew Broderick role in the movie,
right?
Now, this just touches on so many themes, and then we've got this is kind of you're with a chick here. This is good.
That's the woman who I end up marrying in the play, but he's still confused in whether he wants to be with Arnold, and his marriage suffers because of it, and it's just a very real to life kind of thing. But yet, this still very funny play. So it'll make you cry, make you laugh all at once.
Played the mother in your show?
What was that?
Who played the mother in your show? Do you remember?
Oh, Rose. I'm forgetting her last name.
Rose Lemaire.
Thank you, Rose Lemaire. I knew.
Oh,
yes.
Awesome.
And she was wonderful.
Yes.
Absolutely hilarious. I think she's friends with Jack. Yeah.
Yeah. We were in 12 Angry People.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Now, are we still on Torch Song here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's Act 3, so I'm
I
kind
still
of
recognize that guy.
A few years have passed in Act 3, and that's the kid role. So he's playing the first Matthew Broderick role.
Okay. Awesome.
You see all my gray hair there. Oy.
Yeah, you did it, didn't you? Yeah, what a chore that can be. I know.
So much gray on each side.
I don't have to do that so much anymore, but that's a whole nother story. But that's awesome. That's awesome. How was it working out at Penguin Point? Did you enjoy it?
Well, it was great for me. I'd after I left college, I haven't really acted on theater maybe once or twice briefly for like 7 years after I left college. So it was just I was so nervous at the audition, and thankfully Maddie saw something in me, even though I was physically shaking, my feet were shaking. I'm a pretty confident guy, but it had been so long since I'd done any kind of theater audition, I was just dying of nervousness. And thankfully they trusted me and gave me these 2 roles for the season. Thank you, Maddie. And it was just really good performing there. And they were trying their best, I think, at the time to sanitize everything and keep people distant and best they could. Some of the younger kids there, you have to keep reminding them, because I think they're just, they're not, their brain isn't cemented the importance of it. I think there's some kids who are like 18 years old working there, but they're really trying. And you're just like, hey, put your mask on. They put it back on. And we had 2 dressing rooms, so we could kind of spread out a little bit. But yeah, it was just, it's an unusual space. I recommend people go see a show there once you feel safe doing so. They can
it's a
change
nice
it around.
space. It's a really nice space. Yeah.
It's like a black box that can be changed in any setting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful space, reminding me of many theaters in New York, where I spent a good amount of time myself. Once upon a time, the little theater. I love that intimate little theater. The Breakthrough was another one that was very, very intimate. In fact, we were getting ready to open a show when COVID hit, and one of our performers actually walked in and said, "Well, here's the deal. My husband has been." Thank you, Jolie. Jolie just popped up that she shared the video.
Oh.
Thanks, Joel.
Thanks, girlfriend.
she's the one who's posting on Facebook about all the COVID stuff that not the vaccine stuff, and I'm like, shut up! I don't want to hear it.
That's because you haven't had yours and you're scared.
I will have mine the 12th of.
Now you have. There you go.
Yeah.
Of March, my second one. So I've got all the time to look forward to it. Yay! But we were about to open, and one of the women came in. God love her. And Jack was actually doing a show with her at the same time. Strangely, enough.
We were directing. I was directing a show at the time, and luckily,
she walked in and said, "My husband may have been exposed."
Mm-hmm.
And we all went, well. In the moment, we all were very brave. Said, well, you know what? It was very early in the game, very early.
Mm-hmm.
So what the hell? Let's just, if we got it, we've got it now. But we weren't really thinking.
It wasn't cemented in yet. Yeah.
No. Well, it was like March 10th. Yeah,
it was real early in the game.
Something like that. Yeah.
Before anything went absolutely haywire, but maybe it did before that. Who knows? Anyways, long story short, I got in my car and started driving home, and I called the 2 other older actors in the show. Actually, they texted me, and we all started talking, and then we said, you know what? We cannot in good conscience open a show and have an audience come in if there's even a possibility that she was exposed. Because, good God, could you imagine? Theater opens, finds out, then people find out, then boom, he's done. He was done anyway, sadly, but
well, for the space anyway.
But so I called him and said, look, we can't do this. We just can't. You can't do this. And cooler heads prevailed, and it was hard, but we canceled that show, and it really sucked because it was a good show.
Yeah.
I just dropped out of my last show at Penguin Point because I saw the numbers weren't getting better. Instead, they were getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
And this is literally right before any kind of vaccines were being floated out that I put this cancellation out there. I was just like, I can't be in this play because my parents haven't gotten it yet. It's gotten worse and worse. I just can't justify it. So it's funny because I actually feel safer going to a play right now because a lot of theaters are doing a very good job at separating people, but I don't quite feel safe yet going to be in a play yet. So
exactly. Yeah. A friend of mine I might've been the same one. I don't know. No, it was Torch Song. A friend of mine was in it and just her roommate's mom is really susceptible and, and not in the age group. And it's a whole thing. So she was really worried about it. And she said, I can't in all good conscience, you just have to do what you have to do.
I met her one time and she was really nice.
She
I
is.
won't say who.
No, she's a wacko, but she's really very.
Was she slated to play the mother in that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Jesus, she would have been so freaking good.
Yeah, but Rose is great. Rose is great.
I'm sure Rose was terrific.
I love working with Rose. She's the bomb.
Who we're talking about? I mean, she played my wife she played my Jewish wife in a show.
Appropriately.
And you know what? She would have been freaking brilliant. She would have, no doubt in my mind. I'm coming around to more stuff. It's like, I love some of these photos that you said. Now that's another one from that.
Right. I like that one. I look so young in that photo.
Well, that's because the camera's so far back.
You don't exactly look ancient now, buddy. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you. All right.
And it's a wig, so that's nice. It covers all the gray and.
Yeah.
Well,
speaking of gray, I love gray.
Gray is distinguished. I am. But this one is. I've got to tell you, is probably my favorite. I don't know how old are you in this picture?
That was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
It was a little thinner, I think.
Well, you have filled out a little bit. I'll tell you that.
That was at some kind of science center honors for some guy who saved turtles. It was great, and I got to enjoy it. So.
How wonderful! But it's like Bond. James was shaken, not stirred.
I like that. Bond, Jarman Bond.
I actually, my dad's name was Bond, and he had a brother named James, and he got made fun of for it in school. I was like, who would make fun of someone named James Bond? But it was ridiculous.
Oh no!
We've also discovered, Jarman, that you have done a little bit of military work.
My favorite thing to do is dress up in a Starfleet uniform and go to the Renaissance Fair and look like I've beamed down to an ancient planet. It's just
I love it. Funniest picture I've ever seen. I love it. I absolutely love it. My favorite thing to do, and oddly enough, Jack and I, we've been going out to Disney walking with a friend of ours, Al, and it's a wonderful place to go because they really follow the rules, But one of the things that I always enjoyed doing was standing there with a couple of other people and just creating a line to nothing. Stand there. And people will invariably come up behind you and stand in line.
Yeah.
And then
That's
once
terrible.
you get about 10 or 12 people, you'll walk away. It's great.
Hey,
I've seen it done at a convention before, yeah.
I have to do this. Okay, Steve Bowman just said, man, this guest's facial hair is on point.
That's my buddy Steve, who actually co-hosts the podcast we do every week.
Awesome.
So I guess he saw my link and came on in. He's an actor of his own right. Improv.
I'm glad he did.
Okay, so Jarman, I have to ask you, how much did you have to pay him to say that?
Knowing him, he probably was saying it sarcastically.
Because as we know, Jarman did not have facial hair not that long ago, actually, because I see the gray hair up there, Jarman. So.
Yeah, that was about 5 years ago as well. I think my hair was dyed dark on the top still. It was growing out. So that's why it looks like nice and black on top.
That's funny.
Now, and then there's this one, which I believe is, where is that?
That's in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
It is. Well, it could be over a Universal in front of the castle too.
That's true.
Conceivably. So I just think it's awesome that you worked in Stratford, that you learned in Stratford. I think that's a really, really cool thing. Were there any? I'm curious. Were there any famous professionals that you studied with? Anybody that we might know the name of?
That's a good
question.
question.
Outside of Patrick Spur spitting on you.
Right. I really should go back and look at all the professors and people I worked with, because it's been so long and I never looked back to see where did those careers go? And at the time, there were more fairly young people that were teaching with us. They were probably assigned to that as the Royal Shakespeare Company junior people. But by now they might have directed big plays and stuff. And I actually haven't done that. So that's a really good idea. But I just know, unfortunately, one of my professors was in that program was later on kicked out of NYU for sleeping with students. And it was a woman, but strange that happenstance that happened.
Doesn't surprise me. Women can do that too.
Well, of course. Yeah. Just a random happenstance.
Yes, it happens all the time. There you go.
Especially acting programs. Terrible.
Leave it alone.
Not to mention, you were New York University, which is also nothing to sneeze at least for people in our business.
Oh yeah, well actually I had applied originally to go to the Tisch school, but I didn't actually get in. So I went to Boston University for film and television, and then I was able to do the Tisch program for this thing abroad. So I kind of went to Tisch-ish, you know.
You walked in the door.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so awesome. That it really is. I'm a little envious of you in that respect, because back in the day, I was going to do the same thing, and I never did it. I decided I literally went into working very early in my career. I mean, I got a master's degree in theater, and you know what that gets you? Doing this show from Orlando in a shed in your backyard. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
So
lots of things. I kept applying to acting schools, and after that, I eventually applied to master's programs and didn't get in anywhere. So I took my film and television major and moved to Atlanta and worked at CNN for 5 years doing news. And as an actor who loves being creative and performing and even making films like I used to in college, I just, it was killing my emotional and creative spirit working in the news. And it was before, thankfully, all this era of really crazy politics that's going on right now.
But there was still a lot of crazy things going on.
There is always crazy things going on. But I thankfully got out of it and moved into voiceover, and that much better, much happier now.
How long have you been doing voiceovers?
About almost 8 years now.
Almost 8 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I made a lot of mistakes.
I have to tell you, I sampled some of it on your site, and I could listen to you. I really could. I would enjoy it.
That's good to hear.
Although I don't know if you've done any books that even remotely interest me, but
that's hard to say.
What we got here? Well, that must be the beard, I guess. Okay.
Yes.
That's another person I happen to know.
Now, who we're talking? I'm assuming we're talking about the beard, Matthew.
I'm hoping so.
Now, I have another question. These people are out to get you.
They are.
And these are your friends. Well.
Does he use that headset when he plays Overwatch? Well, I haven't played that game in months, but no, I wish I could use this headset. It would sound a lot better with video games, but I don't.
I should actually be using my usual ear. Yes, Matthew says yes. He was talking about the beard.
Thank you for qualifying that, Matthew.
Yes, very important.
That's fun. It's good to have friends that pick on you, because you know what? I've decided that if people didn't do that, they don't really care about you.
Yeah, not anymore.
Oh, Andy says, I know you haven't played in months, in capital letters. No.
Because I've been working so much on my audiobooks. That's why.
Exactly.
She might be mildly upset with you. I don't know. Oh, yeah. They miss you.
That's sweet.
That's nice.
Oh.
What do we got here? Oh, thank you, Steve. I'm glad you did that on behalf of Jarman, but tell them to get their asses in here and support the show.
There you go.
Too.
There we go. We have some good shows here. And this one is
There's some really good stuff here. Now, Jarman, I'm looking here. I want to look here again a little more. What? Tell me a couple of books that we might have heard of.
Oh, that you might have heard of. Strangely enough, I'm pretty big now in the Asian market, which sounds unusual, but audiobook.
No, not really.
Audiobook licensing is very strange. It's, as you can imagine, with a lot of things in licensing and royalties and that kind of thing. So with audiobooks, especially these big franchises, they get a license that they pay for one country or one region. So there's a book series called Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which you might have heard of. They made some movies out of it.
That was the one that I listened to some of, yes.
Right. And so they have an English narrator already for Australia, and for United States and United Kingdom is the same person. And then they had no one for Asia. And so in the English version of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, I did the entire series. So all of Asian listeners, which is a huge market right now, it's booming, especially in English language. And then I'm opening up for a few giant books like John Grisham's series, Game of Thrones. I don't do those whole books, but I do the intros to those books in English.
Oh, that's cool.
They have someone who says in Chinese, they'll say, this is Game of Thrones written by George R.R. Martin. but then I say it in English and I announce the book basically. So I'm in front of all those John Grisham and I think what's the doctor's name? Michael Crichton. A lot of those books.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So if you're listening to those in Asia, you'll hear my voice. So as far as audiobooks, that's as far as that goes. But I'm more known amongst the romance indie crowd. They kind of would know who I was.
That's how I knew you did voiceovers and things like that. And I'd been thinking, God, because we talk about guests. And I was like, Jarman's done so much because he's been doing, he's been over there and he's done this and he's been theater and he's done film. And I was thinking about it. And then I saw that interview.
Oh, the one with the author?
Yeah, with the author. And I was listening and I was watching the interview going, oh my God, this is so fun. Once upon a time, I got into some of those books. I was reading some of them. And she looked a little weird, but that's okay. No, no, it was a really nice interview. And I thought, this is really interesting because it's a whole different genre, the fantasy romance kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And part of me was saying, how can you do some of that with a straight face? Seriously.
Oh
because
God.
Some of it is it really is quite funny.
Well, for me, I just loved sci-fi fantasy for so long. And then
yeah.
I like being romantic, so why not mix the two of those things together? And then so I have vampires and werewolves falling in love with humans and with other demons and things like that. And there's drama and there's action, but then at the same time, there's these glorious sex scenes. It's like that's kind of really fun to narrate. Yeah. There's nothing not fun about that. So, yeah, just kind of I've fallen into it, and it's the jobs I've been getting, and people seem to enjoy it. So why not do more?
So we've got a real honest to God question.
Oh dear, we're in trouble now.
From one of the peanut gallery here, and let's see what it says here. It says, real question: what is your favorite character to do a voiceover for?
Oh, I think for just like within theater, I love playing villains. That's why Dangerous Liaisons was so fun, just to be this guy who's just remarkably evil. He has some, redeeming qualities, but not much. And so just picking out different villain voices for each book is typically especially the shifter romances and paranormal romances have an evil villain or a demon that's behind all the scenes and doing the bad things. And it's just fun to, chew the scenery with those guys.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh yeah, definitely. There's nothing more fun than playing a bad guy. Nothing on this planet. Yeah.
There's nothing more fun than chewing scenery either.
That's for sure.
That's being allowed to, yeah.
Yeah.
And Joe Bond says, big surprise.
It's like he knows me too.
There you go.
I'm getting the feeling that might be somebody you know quite well.
Yes. That's my half brother, actually.
Makes sense.
Now, Steve Bauman, I'm not sure if there's a
he's setting you up, Jarman. He's setting you up.
Don't be setting me up like that, Steve.
Steve Bauman asks, do you do any impressions?
Well, not on command. That's right, Steve. That's the answer. Oh my gosh. And right now we have Leona. I must say it wrong because I know it's Lee, but Leona Lux is an author that I've done several narrations for.
Awesome.
You should check. Yeah, she's very good. And they're all set in the South and they involve all different families that all kind of know each other. So each book is a separate book, but you'll hear somebody you heard in the last book in this book as a tertiary character. So it's not paranormal romance. It's actually just straight up romance, but it's really a lot of drama and a real laugh. You'll cry. You'll get hot and bothered. So definitely check out our stuff.
Those are fun.
Yes.
I don't need that with the pandemic. I don't need that.
You don't need to get hot and bothered.
I don't need to get actually,
today
I will confess that I have been reading. I become a voracious reader with and listener actually with Amazon, which I did. I don't know if you know this or not, but you can push a button, pretty much listen to any book you want on Amazon. Mm-hmm. It kind of has that voice recognition. I don't know what it does, but it's quite interesting. And and Leona Locke says, "Ooh, you're good." I don't even want to know. Knowing the kind of book she's writing, I don't even want to know what that means.
No, if you'd listened to the interview, you would have known because he did. Remember, you did do.
Was there a little clip of something?
It was a clip. Yeah, you did. She said, read a little something or other, and there was a little short little blurb that you read in your romantical voice. and it was actually really good, actually.
And don't and just understand, you're not off the hook for that tonight yet. Okay. So
I have to mention, just because Leona Lux is here, she had a wonderful book that I'm still kind of in the process of next one releasing, called Whiskey Lies in Ink and Whiskey. That's what it's called. It's a 2-part series. But the character was supposed to be Scottish. And the rest of the characters in her series had been mostly from the South, and I'm very comfortable with that because my family's from the South as well. But so I get this book from her, and I'm like, oh my goodness, he's Scottish. That sounds cool, but I don't think I have a Scottish accent. I don't think I can do it.
It's hard.
Even the other narrator was a dual narrator book. So sometimes you'll have a book where a female narrator will read the female chapters from their point of view, and then you read the male chapters from your point of view. And she said, oh my God, I don't have a Scottish accent either. What are we going to do? So we ended up, actually, without even knowing it, we both went to the same dialect coach that we've used, a lot of voice actors use. He's really popular, and I'm forgetting his name now, of course. And we did an online Zoom session with him for about a half an hour because it was about all I could afford at the time. And practice as I might, I could not hold that accent for a whole book, even though it was a short novella.
that's a tough one.
It is a very, very tough accent.
And since I had done the other books with her, she was nice enough to kind of negotiate with me and say, that's fine, just do him like he's been living in America for a while, so maybe he has an American accent, and the accent pops out occasionally. And then his parents were really Scottish, from Scotland, so I could manage doing a few sentences here and there with a perfect nailed-in accent. But I wouldn't, that whole book, I would have been taking me months and months and months, and I would have let her down. So I'm so thankful she let me not do that.
Apparently, Jarman, you did not let her down because she said this.
Oh, thank you, Leona. Appreciate it. I tried my best.
Higher praise than that you can't get, especially the person who wrote the thing. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Now, the voice in their head, yeah.
Before Candy has another question. It's a great question. It's a really great question too. And you took it off my list. Thank you, Candy. But I have a question for you. Has there been I can't wait to ask this. Has there been a project that you have been offered and you read it and said, what are you, nuts? I can't do this. And why?
Oh my goodness. Thankfully, I'm pretty aware of what things are, at least content-wise, if I am not going to do them. Like if they don't agree with my politics in a really extreme way, or if they have something, like I think most narrators, at least in the romance genre, they draw a line in the sand between non-consensual sex. We just don't
nice way to say it.
Yeah, we don't like promoting books that have that in there, or incest, that kind of thing. Right. Other than that, get as freaky as you want. It's fine. Doesn't matter to me. But just beyond those two things. But then other than that, no, I especially early on, I would take on any project I could get, which is what I will recommend against new voice actors doing. Try to be a little discriminatory, because later on you'll have those projects you did not do very well. They didn't suit your voice, and then they'll come back and bite you because someone will find them and say, this guy's not very good. So you got to kind of be careful. But yeah, I'm pretty open to most things as long as they're decently written. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah. That's great. That's very good advice as well. And let's see if you can give some advice here. How do you maintain your voice, aka lots of tea, cough drops, what?
Definitely by drinking lots of tea with honey. If you're having a rough day and you need to get through a lot of chapters, that really helps. They say not to drink lots of caffeine and coffee because it's acidic and that will wreck your voice, but I do all the time. But then I drink lots of water to wash it down, and then I'll do that tea if I have to. That definitely helps. And just trying to protect your voice from characters that, like I remember one book series I did, there was a small part and I gave him a really gruff voice like this. He went around talking like that. And then I think I talked about this story in the other interview, but just basically I didn't realize later on that he was gonna be a much bigger character. So then I had to talk for like 3/4 of the book going, oh, look at that. And my whole voice was just ruined by the end of that book. So be careful and look ahead, make sure you prep your projects appropriately, ask the authors questions so you're not, ruining your voice for a whole book.
Do you work when you work with it? Does the author get to choose whether they want you to read their book or not, or do you go through somebody else?
If it's a really large book, they'll go through a giant publisher like HarperCollins, Penguin Books, something like that, and then they will say that you signed away usually your rights to the audio, and they pick somebody. But for the majority of books, it's an independent author or with a small publishing house, and they'll seek auditions from somewhere like ACX, the Audiobook Creative Exchange, which is owned by Amazon, but it's where you can audition for independent books and sometimes a little bit bigger publishers. or a lot of the times it's a narrator like myself going to a author that they find and say, hey, I see your book isn't on audio. I'd like to audition for it. I'd love to bring it to audio, and I can explain how that process works. So
now that's
way to do
a way to do it. That's very cool.
Absolutely. And that's the way they recommend doing it later on in your career. If you're in a lag of places, you should go find the authors yourself and bring them to audio.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. That's fascinating.
And that way you can find pieces that you really, really resonate with.
Exactly. So you're not already picking something that you're questioning. You already know it's good.
Exactly.
Well, I think as an actor, what I love about, and I've read a couple. I mean, I read books. I love reading books for kids. I adore reading books for kids. I do it. I did it in Japan while I was there. I read English books for kids. They didn't understand a freaking word I said, but they got a huge kick out of the fact that I switched between characters and I got a little crazy. That was fun for them. You know, see, look, the white guy's doing this thing. And that's what they call us. Guy Jimmy's white guy.
Yes.
But it was delightful. Have you ever been over there? Have you ever had the opportunity to get over there? Into Asia?
No,
well, if you ever
books are all out there. I've never been there.
If you ever get the opportunity, just do it on somebody else's dime. I did it on Universal's dime and Disney's dime. Leona has said, and I think this again is to me is a high compliment as an actor. He has control over his tone and switches with ease between characters. I think that's pretty good.
Oh, that's very nice of her to say. But also, lucky, the good thing is with editing, if I am having a hard time quickly switching between characters, I can just edit that space out where I take a break for a second and then got ready and then got into the next character. I can just go in editing afterwards and go put that together. So it seems like I immediately switched, but I didn't necessarily do that.
Oh, Leona, he's given up. You see, you thought he was incredible.
So that's a very nice compliment.
It's just freaking studio magic. That's all it is. But that's good. You know, there's a talent there too, quite frankly.
Well, yeah, because you have to know when you're getting tired or when you know you need to take a break from it and walk away, or it's not just like, oh, I have to do a bathroom break. No, but it's really finding that correct spot and the timing of it too. That's an art form.
I rarely am smart enough to read anything in advance of what I'm doing. I love cold reading. I love it.
Oh, me too. Actually, nowadays.
Yeah. Obviously, you can't do that though, can you? I mean, you've got to actually read
not for the books because, well, the biggest thing is like you can find a character. This happened to me once before where you've done their voice. If you didn't prep the book, you'd be recording them halfway through. They say they're British, and you didn't know that in the beginning, so you've recorded the whole thing with them American. So you got to prep and you got to know what each character sounds like, and then you do a character reference file for each character to record a small snippet of them talking, so that if you're in book 3 of the series, you can go back and say, oh, that's what they sounded like, and then you can go back and make sure book 1 sounds like book 3, and so there's a lot of prep going on. But like for smaller jobs, I've done commercials and stuff like that. You can oftentimes just run in there. Some people like doing just a cold read because it's fresh and exciting for like a commercial or something. That's not as bad.
What I've done, the couple that I have done commercials and that sort of thing, just for voice, I've been very lucky in my career. I've done all kinds of cool stuff, and I was the voice. I was the voice of this, voice of that, whatever, theme parks and stuff. But I always loved going in and doing exactly that. Just give me the script. And the best part was when it worked. When you would record it, they'd say, "Well, hell, we don't need anything else." That's pretty cool.
That's a good feeling.
That's great. So you've never had one that was just too damn dirty for you, huh?
Not yet. I mean, because you can tell by the description if it's something that's just like, I'm not even connecting with any of this material. Like there's a big subgenre of motorcycle clubs, which is like a bunch of burly motorcycle guys who go around and fall in love, which is cool. And I might do one someday, who knows? But I just don't identify with anything in that. I don't ever want to be on a motorcycle my whole life. So it's just nothing I want to do.
I'm going to go along with you.
Yeah. And I've done male romances, a few of those, but they're under a pseudonym. So they told me early on, I've gotten advice that if you're doing male romance and straight romance, you should probably use different names because they like having that associated with different audiences. And so some people who really like their male romance, they might be like, oh, this guy does straight stuff too? I don't believe it. Like, it's going to take me out of it thinking that he's also doing straight stuff. So yeah, nothing really bothers me. So send me a message if you want my pseudonym.
You have a pseudonym like Johnny Wad or something like that. Is that it?
Something fun, yes.
I could not resist. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. That's fun.
Ooh.
That's fun.
Matthew just asked a really cool question. This is
Put
cool.
it up here so we can see
Yeah.
what it said.
What's your dream
project?
That's a good question, Mr. Sklar. I would say down the line, I'd love to actually work on some big epic fantasy or sci-fi. A lot of the fantasy ones ask for British narrators, which I totally understand. That's just kind of the way our minds, we think of fantasy as British accent. But a lot of sci-fi I'd love to do because that's one of my favorite things, sci-fi fantasy. And so I get a little bit of that with the romance, but a lot of those are young adult too. So they want younger sounding voices. When they have a voice description on a website that said, there you go, the sci-fi fantasy. But when they're like, they want a young adult, like I don't audition for it because like I just don't sound like a young kid. And I haven't for a long time.
I would say you don't. But I'm sure you could do that if you wanted to. Could you not?
I can sound like when they say millennial, because I am a millennial technically, so I could do a millennial read, and I lighten it up a little bit, speed it up, and that kind of thing. But yeah, it's not my strongest suit when there's people out there who just naturally sound that way. That's a big misconception about doing voiceover in general, especially where most of the work is. They don't want people you can do a ton of impressions or tons of voices or you have a really good voice, whatever that means. They just want people who sound different for every project. So they want somebody who sounds like this and sounds like that. And so you want to be versatile, but everyone has a place as long as you don't have speech problems where you can't. I have mumbling problems sometimes, but when I'm in the booth, I get out of that. But if you don't have any speech impediments that are stopping you, you can, whatever your voice sounds like, you're good for something, some kind of project.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody has their niche, as they say. Yeah.
So I'm assuming like, I do magic, and there are days I'm a magician as well. I do a lot of crap.
He does everything.
I wish I did. Anyways, but I'm assuming because there are days when I'll just get into a zone where I'm being very creative, or I'm playing with something and I'm really getting into it and enjoying it, and then hurting my fingers literally. But I'm curious, when you get in the studio, I know that sounds really weird, but it does. But you're doing some of this stuff. When they say knuckle busting, it is. But I'm curious that when you get into your studio, into your booth, whatever you want to call it, do you get in that zone where you just, okay, I am here and I'm going to finish this damn thing because I'm here and I'm just there? Did you get that way?
Yeah, I think it's some days better than others, obviously. And the one thing that stops you from being in the zone for too long is that these professional audio booths, one behind me here, they get very warm. And unless you have a really loud fan system keeping them quiet, it's kind of difficult to keep them cool. So I can usually go for a half an hour and I have to take a break. Either walk around or do some editing. That's a big thing you don't think about doing audiobooks is you got to master and edit all these tracks and make them sound pretty and put together and take all your mouth noises and that kind of thing. So yeah, if I get in the zone, it can only last up to half an hour, and I just hope that zone stays there after the half hour starts up again.
Yeah, you can get back into it. Yes.
So on your average project, let's say your average Leona Lux, what would you call it? Book?
Yeah, book.
I don't know if she's ever written that. I don't know if there's just been a book and a novel. Okay, for me, it could be anything.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah.
On your average Leona Lux book, for example, and I'm kind of figuring something about that thick. Yes, is that fair?
Sure.
Okay. How long?
How long? What?
To do it from start to finish.
Oh, just gotcha. Curious. Well, over the years, I've thankfully gotten faster with that. But like when I first started, they usually measure everything in completed hours or per finished hour. So when I say I get paid, we'll go a random number here, like $250 per finished hour. That means every hour of audio that's completely edited and finished that someone can listen to, and it'll last an hour, and you get paid for that hour. And so that would have taken me probably 6 hours when I first started because I had no idea what I was doing. I did everything backwards. I didn't take any classes like an idiot. I didn't get coaching. And so I just learned things through YouTube, and finally I got coaches and stuff, and that got a lot better and better equipment. So now I can get down to probably an hour and a half to 2 hours for a finished hour of audio.
So now basically you're quite reasonably priced because you're faster.
Right, exactly. So usually around 2 hours per finished hour.
Which I imagine what people are looking for.
Yeah, I don't change my pricing, but just a matter of that now I'm actually making money that I can live off of normally. Because if you're making $250 per finished hour and it takes you 6 hours, or even longer, you're not making as much people think. And then you still have to audition, you still have to promote yourself, you still have to have all the equipment beforehand, the training to make it sound good, and That's why the most infuriating thing is the voice actor's like, oh, I could do that. I can just talk into a microphone, right? I'm like, no, that's not all it is.
Oh, well, I mean, in a perfect world, I mean, the couple of the few things I've done, I did for a commercial, and I went into it. I didn't have to do what you do.
Right, you walk into a studio, it's
and
much
they did all that
different
crap,
story.
you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
All I did was basically walked in and sat in front of the microphone and did it.
An act,
You know.
yeah.
I was very lucky. I was very, very lucky. I did a couple of things for one of the animation studios as well. A friend of mine runs and owns, and for the, it's terrible because for the life of me. And if you're in here, tell me, Ann Barnes, tell me, Annie, because I don't remember the name of. Oh my God, I feel terrible. Anyways, but I just really fun stuff. I got to do some really fun stuff, character stuff, Martians and stuff. It was very great stuff. Just a delight. And I'm very fortunate in that respect. I don't, honest to God, I don't have that anymore. It's tough. It's tough because as I've gotten older, I've gotten older.
Well, different kind of voice for different characters.
Yes.
Here's a great question from Joe Bond. How do you maintain a steady pace when speaking to avoid? Oh, wait. Let me fix this. How do you maintain a steady pace when speaking to avoid speeding up after taking a break?
Oh, that's
consistency.
Yeah, especially because me and my half brother both have a similar problem of talking too fast, or the words are trying to come out of our head too fast, so I might mumble and stuff like that. So that was something to get used to. Same thing, Jack. So what really helps me, especially when I get back in the booth, is before I start recording, I read it a little bit myself and get used to what I'm getting back into. Like, okay, this is the cadence we're going for, and this is the feeling, the mood of the scene, and get back into it that way, because you just want to jump back in because you'll be jarring yourself back into the scene. But the hardest thing to getting my per hour earnings down was recording steadily and not making mistakes. Because when you're try sitting in a closet and reading a book to yourself out loud, but every time you make a mistake or a fumble, you got to stop and go back 2 sentences or something. So
I'm laughing. But let me tell you why I'm laughing. Because I am sure there's not a man, or I'm sure I cannot speak for women, but I'm sure there's not a man out there in this world right now of a certain age that has not sat in the closet and read a book. Let's be honest. In his life. I'm sorry.
Everyone's
I'm
done
so
that,
sorry.
right?
I'm so sorry. But that just tickled me.
That's all you're doing is reading a book. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I've sat in the closet and read a book.
It depends on the book or
I
magazine.
don't have to do that now. I'm living alone, so that's funny. That's
We
just
doesn't have
funny
to
stuff.
go into the closet. Oh, never mind. Guys,
That's just funny stuff.
terrible.
I'm sorry.
I actually I have a question for you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And when I came down here to Florida, it was about 86, okay? And I think I came out here to Orlando area 90, maybe 90, 91, something like that. Went right before MGM opened, whenever that was.
Oh, okay,
anyway,
gotcha.
Yeah, but at the time, there were so many scams out there. Okay. And it was, a lot of them were out. They were everywhere. And it was, you come on in, we'll make you a voiceover, we'll do a tape for you, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, you give them money and this is when they still had cassettes. Yes, I know, before the icing.
Oh, yeah. The actual
and they
tapes.
had the little cassettes, and they go, yes, we'll take your money. And they give you this cassette and a list of things, which is bull crap. And now I know that things have changed, but do you really think that most of that is gone, or there are still some of them out there?
Oh, yeah. There's big scams everywhere, especially for people that were like me when I first started out and didn't do things right. My hair's sticking up now. That was a bad idea. Anyways, but people who they didn't do research about how much they're supposed to get paid, how this is supposed to work. Like general actors, that if you're working, especially on film or television, that you never pay your agent or they're supposed to make money off when you make money, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
And so the same kind of deal with these, the best demo producers you'll find, which you absolutely do need some kind of demo, professionally produced demo. Unless you're already an audio producer, don't make your own, because you'll get blacklisted some agencies and that kind of thing if you have a terrible demo and they'll never want to hear you again. But if you go to a demo producer and they say, pay us money, we'll give you a demo, then just don't go to that demo producer.
Run like hell off the door.
Right. So the best thing you can do is something I had to pay a lot of money for, but it's worth it, is a reputable coach who will coach you for several sessions, and he will not make you a demo until he knows you're ready, because it also reflects on his reputation. So when you put your demo out there to producers and casting directors and agencies, he wants to know that it sounds professional. So he would have worked with me as long as it took. I mean, he would have said, your session's over, you have to pay for more, or you're just done. I won't make a demo for you because it'll look bad. So, and the biggest thing with audiobooks, the scams now is rampant, is people they put fake listings on ACX, the Audiobook Creation Exchange.
Yes.
For very little money, like $50 per finished hour, which a new person says, they look at that, they're not realizing what that takes to make that 1 hour. They're like, oh, it's a lot of money. And they'll make this book, and the person who's actually doing the book has this people who have a farming system of using promo codes. It's very complicated, but these cheap, crappy books they throw out there really fast with new narrators. They don't care how bad it sounds. And then they get these promo codes to make them royalties off these books. It's very complicated, but basically always be in touch with your author directly off of that platform with emails, know who they are, maybe approach them yourself first. Know that it's a real person who's making that book and not some scammer. And thankfully, I've always been in good touch with the authors I've worked with, and we talk through texts and get friendly and then, collaborate and stuff. That's the way it should be. So, yeah, that was a long answer.
That's good to know, because a lot of my friends we've talked about, doing voiceovers, and there's a lot of right now, because I've seen it. There's a lot of things. Oh, go and do this voiceover class and do this one, and we'll do this and we'll do this. And I've done a couple, and I found, the people said, oh, let's invite you in, kind of thing. And I found that it's very vague, and it could very well be very legit, but it's very vague.
Introductory.
Yeah. And it really gets you nowhere. So I know quite a few people, especially in this time, who are saying, hey, have you done voiceovers? What do you suggest? There's a lot of chatter out there, but I want people to, especially my friends, to be safe and not get scammed on stuff.
And the best thing I would say is that, especially like Joe was saying, he went to school for acting, and he did that as a profession for a long time. It costs probably a lot of money to go to that school. You have to invest in your career no matter what it is. So people who just constantly, for some reason, in voiceover in particular, think it's something that you can just jump into with a USB mic or your phone and make money. And so they fall for scams. All this stuff happens. But really, if I wish I could go back and tell myself, get some other job, save up money, get that coach I finally got much later on, and I would have saved much more time, started making much more money much more early. And so people just think don't invest to get good equipment. You have to do the right training. And you're right. Go to classes that are reputable, that aren't going to tell you the same vague things you can get on a YouTube video. And really find your voice and what you're good at. That's the biggest thing I got from my coach, was saying, okay, let's try several, like 30 scripts we tried, and what are well suited for your voice, what can't you do very well. And like we found like luxury ads I was really good at, gruff kind of things I could also do well. There was like a lot of the really high energy, like not Sunday, but more like the, toys for sale, those kind of things, like Toys R Us. I was not good at that. So you kind of find what you're good at, and they're going to be honest with you, and not someone's just going to build you up so they can get more money out of you.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. That's the scam. When I first started, it is, oh, yes. Oh, you have a great voice. You could do so many things. Let's get you started. Give me more money.
Right, exactly.
Jarman, you won't know that, but the John Casablanca School of voiceover, John Casablanca's, they had it probably was a voiceover school as well, but they were out there. They had a place in every mall. Every kid can be a star. And, and it was scam. I'll probably get sued now. Taking the blood from a stone. Now, Steve Bauman is concerned, and I can understand this. He is saying, boy, this guest probably doesn't have an extent problem. You're so freaking subtle, Steve. I love it. Probably doesn't have an extensive background in podcasting, which is obviously Steve's way of saying, okay, why haven't you freaking plugged this show yet?
So, he really wants it.
Yes. Hey, we do so many shameless plugs. Go for it.
Oh, good. Well, basically, it seems like someone told me this once, a joke, something like, it seems like every cisgendered straight white guy who's nerdy has a podcast, and it's, become a stereotype at this point, which basically is true, and I feel bad for it. But this happened 2014. We just went to a wedding, him and I together. We've been childhood friends, Steve Bauman and I, and so we were trying to think of ways to stay in touch without losing touch with each other over the years when we lived so far apart. And podcasting was still kind of getting its legs at that point. So let's do a podcast, and we don't care if anyone listens. We'll just do it for ourselves. And eventually it grew to this thing called a Play on Nerds, which is what it's called. Give the people what they want. I am the people.
I am people.
So it's a playonnerds.com. You can find us there. And it for a while there, it was much bigger before I had to really buckle down and focus on my voiceover career. And then we had game streaming, we had articles, we had all sorts of stuff going on. But now we just do 2 or 3 podcasts. One about Star Trek and the Muppets, which makes no sense. It's wonderful.
Oh, well, no, that sounds wonderful. It sounds
Well, you see
it's
now,
called Muppet Trek.
You've just got somebody who's probably going to tune in.
Yes.
Because of that.
Great.
My phone is Muppet, so.
Oh, great. Yeah, it's called Muppet Trek, which basically we take one-to-one reviews of a Star Trek episode to a Muppet Show episode. And thankfully, the Muppet Show is coming to Disney Plus soon, so you can actually watch those all on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And the other one is called Sappy Crap Podcast, where we talk about being sappy about things that happened when we were growing up in Central Florida in the 80s and 90s, that kind of thing.
Oh, dear.
And,
Are you a Florida baby? Are you a Florida
I am.
native?
I was born and raised in Orlando, and then I went to school in Boston and lived in Atlanta for a while, but I'm back here in Orlando again.
When I first came down here, it took me 3 months to find someone who was actually born in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're just so damn classy, I couldn't see it.
Florida man, Jarman Day, found his backyard killing an alligator. Yeah, that's just how it works here. Unfortunately.
I love that.
That's great. That is great. And of course, you've got your own company there, Section 31 Entertainment.
Yeah, it's basically, and I'm scared now because that's a reference from Star Trek, and they're actually making a show called Section 31 now. And I made that.
I saw that.
That LLC like 10, 13
you
years ago.
copyright and sue their ass.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a reference from Star Trek, so I might be in the wrong here anyways, but hopefully I can go under the radar because it's just my company that I use for billing and for, especially when I work with bigger companies, it's good to have an LLC because man, the bigger the company, the bigger the paycheck, the more complicated the accounting is, and the longer it takes them to pay you. Like when I've done ads for like Chevy and Intel and stuff like that, it just takes like a month. They have, or sometimes a blanket 60 days before they pay you.
Yeah,
I have to tell you that's a fact. Having worked for some corporations doing trade shows, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The bastards. And then when you think, okay, did you forget about me?
We're just not important enough.
If you call and kind of allude to that after 6 months, or some stupid ass thing like that, they go, how dare you think that? Well,
We've got this under control.
No, actually,
they
answer back, and because this happened to myself and a friend. They're like, who are you? And I did this commercial. I mean, this is many, many years ago. I did this commercial, and it was, And it was
really
we're
good.
On that. It'll be out soon.
That's the problem, is like the biggest pain in the butt for this job is often tracking down clients for payments. And you have to keep some good accounting software because it's like, oh, I forgot I did that informational video for that company in Thailand last year and I never got paid for that. It's like, you got to keep track of that stuff.
Yeah, you got to make sure you write stuff down too. That's true.
Yeah, that actually is in all entertainment, to be very honest. We have
come to the 9 o'clock hour here.
Really?
That's our time. But before we go, Jarman, I would like you to, now I know you said go to school. But I would like to add something. I'm going to add something to that part, okay? Real quickly. Please have some talent before you go in.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Please, God, have some talent before you go. Because you know what? If you go into school and you can't act to begin with, I got some big news. You're going to come out the same way.
No natural skills. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we do one more question real quick?
Yeah, do it. I like this question.
Because I like this. Scott Stilzer says, when did you first think your voice could be your future?
Well, actually, when I was early on in school, I got this voice around like 7th grade, I guess.
Oh, wow.
So I was walking around talking like this. Basically, I would scare kids in the bathroom. They're trying to smoke in a stall. I'd be like, "Hey, what are you doing in there?" And they get to scare the crap out of them.
I'm glad you qualified that with yeah, I really am. Go ahead.
Yeah, just basically from a young age, I knew that I had a low voice, and my stepdad actually was always trying to convince me to do more when I was that young because it was more unique to have that voice as a young kid.
Sure.
And I was just too distracted by, girls and theater and stuff like that. Life. Yeah, I should have done something with that early on, but I always knew I wanted to perform, and then going to CNN, they started asking me to do more voiceover stuff while I was working there in an unrelated job, and so that made me think, oh, maybe I could apply my love of acting and theater and performing and production to this, and then I just got the hell out of there. So yeah, that's how that happened.
So you maybe could have been, if they hadn't used James Earl Jones, it could have been you.
This is CNN. That would have been great. I would have loved that.
Oh God, you could. Yeah, you son of a bitch, you could do it. Good. There you go. That's freaking awesome. Jarman, this has been delightful. It truly has.
Thanks for having me, guys. A lot of fun.
It is
great information. And anybody who's out there who may be interested in this business, listen to what he said. Listen to what I said. Have some talent first, please. Just be able to act. Just go in being able to act.
Just a little bit.
Please, God. Because otherwise they're just taking your money, and it's John Casablancas all over again. I mean that sincerely. And I don't even want to know what the hell just happened over there with Jack. I don't even want to.
Jack got attacked by something.
But I do want to thank you so much for being on, Jarman. Taking a little bit of your time during the pandemic, like any of us has anything else to do. Right?
Exactly. But we do have
going out too far. But I'm so pleased to know that you got both you and your lovely lady got both doses of that thing.
Very lucky.
And that I have to look forward to something probably pretty crappy in about a month. But that's okay. Maybe not.
You'll have a rough day.
Yeah, and honestly, you'll feel so much better tomorrow. You get the good night's rest, and it makes a difference.
Evan Buse says what I was about to say. Buse is it? Buys, Buse, whatever it is. This guy right here says Jarman is a delight. Jarman is a delight, and I have to tell you, I was about to say just that you have been absolutely delightful. This has been such a joy.
I told you, Joe. I told you.
Thanks, Jack.
You for that. Ladies and gentlemen, Jarman Day. They're all out there clapping right now. They're actually clapping. I see. Well, one of those. Okay. Thank you very much, Jarman. You have a terrific night, and above all else, take care of yourself. Okay.
You too.
And give the Joels a hug for me, please.
Will do.
Thank you, honey.
So long. Okay, well
isn't he great? Isn't he great? He's a good kid. He really is. Very
quickly, I want to tell you what's coming up. I'm going to tell you, Jack, while you're here. We're going to have it's going to be actually on I think our time a Tuesday night, his time a Wednesday night, but at the 23rd, I believe, of next month.
Yeah.
We are going to have a gentleman from Osaka, Japan. His name is John Woodward, and John will be on, and he works for Universal Studios in Osaka. And I met John at Disney, at Tokyo Disney Sea, and we're going to have a great time with John Woodward. We're very lucky. I've got a semi commitment from some other people.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a commitment from one of my heroes in this world. My high school choir director, Mike Levy, Mr. Levy, has said he would like to come on. I asked him. He said, "Boy, that'd be great." I'm hoping he meant it. I've never heard him say anything he didn't mean. So I'm excited about that. So we've got some great and people from Orlando. We got some great stuff coming.
Really
I want
fun
you all
stuff.
to come in and see it. Just like tonight, we had some great stuff. And wonderful comments from the gallery. So that's great. Jack, as always, I positively adore you.
May I do a shameless plug?
Please do.
Shameless plug. Okay. For those on the 12th, I know there's the 12th through the 17th. I know there's a ton of stuff happening, but I work with a group. I direct with a group called Playwrights Roundtable, and we're doing our sci-fi shorts. We film these actually at Central Florida's their outside pavilion, and we are live streaming them February 12th through February 17th. Just go into science fiction shorts, if you'd be so kind. Playwrights Roundtable is all new works by new authors to be playwrights. And these are 8 different shorts. Some of them, actually all of them, are really interesting. Some great actors are from around the area. So check it out, February 12th through February 17th, science fiction shorts, and it's an online event. I'm done with my plug. Thank you, Joe.
Do we have to wear shorts to watch it, or
You can if you want, but you can do pajamas like Jarman did. It's quite all right.
very good? No one knew that until right now.
No, he said it.
Did he say it live? I didn't hear him. No, he said it to us.
I know.
He did not say it to them.
Oh no, it's all
I
good.
am wearing pants, by the way. I just want y'all to know. I don't know what Jack's doing.
I have shorts on. It's cool. I just wanted to throw too that one of the things that we are going to be doing. I'm a simulation actor for Advent, and we have some crazy, funny, amazing stories, and that's gonna be one of the shows we're gonna be doing in the next few weeks. So,
Oh dear, I would be remiss in this.
I was going to remind you.
Yes, on the 21st, right?
Mm-hmm.
21st
Yeah.
of this month.
Yep.
As you guys know, as many of you know, we lost my husband, Christopher Hyde, passed away just before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And we had a family Zoom for him with his family in Ohio. And now Jack and I decided that we're going to do one of the guests we never had was Christopher John Hyde. So he's going to be our guest, our special guest on a special show on the 21st, folks. And I really want y'all to come out for that, whether you knew him or not, even, you know.
Yeah, he did so many wonderful, wonderful characters. He was he was a wonderful guy, but he did so many wonderful characters and just had amazing stories.
And those of you who are watching who maybe knew Chris from Disney, if you want to come on live, you can do that. We're going to go in and out, different people coming in from the gallery and that sort of thing. So that will be on the 21st at 7:30, right?
7:30, yeah. Yes.
That's a Sunday. Yeah. And John Woodward's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be on I think that's actually the 23rd for us is a Tuesday, I think. But that's next month anyways.
Yeah.
So we're elbow cough. Well done. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a delight. Jack, thank you so much. I love you.
My love. Yeah.
I hope to see you soon and that sort of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta get my sandwich. Come on.
Yeah. Oh God, it's in the fridge.
Okay.
Unless Webster gets it from you.
No. All right. Bye, honey.
Okay, folks, here it is. We're at the end, and I thank you for being here. Every last one of you. Remember, when you're out there, look for the helpers. They're out there. They're helping. And you know what? When you find those folks, I want you to join them because there's no better feeling. Okay? Remember, there's food banks out there that need your help. There's all kinds of places that need everybody's help. And I want you to go out there and do what you can. Like, I know things are tight. I know it. I get it. But do what you can. Okay? Last and certainly not least, I used to close my shows every single time. Good night, and may your God go with you. I love each and every one of you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks. So long.